What's up, rich people? It's me, Haley, aka Mrs. Dow Jones, and this is Financial Tea. What's up, sippers? It's me, Haley, aka Mrs. Dow Jones, and this is Financial Tea, the podcast where I teach you how to build wealth with a side of market drama, money scandals, and financial pop culture. So today's question is, how does a guy stopping strangers on the street, playing them a song, and then offering them $5 end up running one of the most watched internet shows of the last year? Yes, we have Jack Coyne here from Trackstar to give us the financial tea. The show launched in 2023, blew up pretty much immediately, and now racks up hundreds of millions of views across TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Oh, and it makes millions of dollars. Millions. And by the way, it's so popular that celebrities like Charli XCX, Ed Sheeran, and even Kamala Harris are begging to play. I mean, Mark Zuckerberg flew this man to Hawaii to be in an episode. But the real question is, where's the money?
That's what everyone wants to know.
Where's the money? How do viral shows actually make cash? Who's paying? And how do you turn internet fame into something sustainable, not just like a flash in the pan? Jack Coyne is here today to break it all down. Okay, welcome to the podcast, Jack Coyne. So excited that you're here. We have 3 icebreakers that I ask every guest. First, what were your best and worst purchases of the week?
This is going to be so boring, but I ordered groceries from Whole Foods.
Oh my God.
And this is not something that I do that often, but It was a bit of a New Year's resolution to start making a much more of an effort to cook. And I don't know, I usually go to the grocery store, but getting everything I needed delivered, it set me up for wanting to plan cooking all week.
Whoa, okay. So drop the recipe, baddie.
So that was one of the things. The other thing is I went out to lunch twice this week from a Jamaican jerk chicken food cart. We went today and I went I went on Tuesday too.
Okay, huge fan.
And my worst purchase of the week was on Monday. It was my birthday. I went to the Rangers game, and after the game, I was with a couple friends, and we decided, okay, let's just get one more drink. And then it was one more drink, and then it was one more drink. Tomorrow we'll start dry January. And so that wasn't the smartest purchase because it didn't set my week up for success.
Yes. What do you lie about when it comes to money?
That's a good question. Do I lie about stuff when it comes to money?
Or just downplay? You're very
I would say
chill.
I probably don't pay attention very closely to what I'm spending money on. And at the end of the year, when I'm really looking at credit card statements, tracking what I spent money on, I inevitably spend way more money on going out to eat and buying, going to restaurants than I should. And I sort of pretend oh, it's not that expensive to do that.
Yeah. But
and then I'm like, it is. I'm wasting so much money doing that.
Last question. Do you feel rich today?
I feel very rich in spirit and in emotion.
No,
I feel like health is wealth. So yes, in terms of the amount of money in my bank account, no, not at all. Not at all. But I am confident that one day I will be.
Oh my God, you're going to be so rich. Okay, before we jump into the money tea, I just want to talk about how we met, because this is not a random encounter. Jack and I, we've been friends for a long time.
Yes. And this is it's surprising we've never done a podcast before, because this is sort of how we got close to each other, was doing stuff like this.
Totally.
But I'll let you explain.
Well, so Jack and I went to Wesleyan University together, and we were both film majors. So we went abroad to Copenhagen. But I will say, so we've been best friends since then. But I will say, I also feel like you sort of normalized this career for me, because you were really early in media. You worked for Casey and Neistat since high school. And so being close to you, I understood that oh, this is actually something that people do.
Yeah, this is a career that's possible. I mean, I remember when we were in college taking that digital film class, and I knew how to edit because I had learned in the summer and whatever. And you were like, how do I do this? And I remember teaching you Premiere.
Totally.
And being trust me, you need to learn how to do this. And I take full credit for your whole career. That's all I have to say.
Jack gets 15%. We're actually, this year we're bumping it to 20. And how did you come up with Trackstar? Because it's such a good idea. It's so well done.
So I started a production company with my brother and our other friend. And the business model of that was an advertising agency. We all had this skill set going back to when we were in college where we knew how to make videos, and we were making commercials and advertisements for people across social media. And then we had a studio space, and we were banking that money and basically spending the excess resources and our excess time on coming up with new ideas for shows. So because we had the space, because we had the tools, because we had each other to lean on, it was so much easier for us to say, let's go out and make this show, and let's make another show tomorrow, another thing the next day. So we were always able to come up with new ideas and make shows because the setting was it made it easy for us. Like I remember the first thing we ever did is before we had any show idea, it was like, oh, I'll just talk to people on the street. And I started talking to this elderly gentleman, and he was like, I said, can I interview? He's like, yeah, sure. And I was like, so how are you? Like, what's your name? And it was like, what's the vibe? And he was like, I'm just going to get gross. It was like so boring. And he was like, why are you asking me about nothing?
Yeah.
And then I realized, no, you have to like, if you're going to stop people and try and ask them questions, you got to ask them something meaningful so they care. And so then we went back to what are things that people care about? What's something that people are going to want to talk to you about?
How did it end up that Olivia Rodrigo was your first celeb guest? Like, how long had you been doing it before? Like, how did that happen?
Still a mystery to me exactly how it happened, but the show was not that big yet. But it was definitely like it had momentum. Yeah. People thought it was cool. And we got an email, hey, can you come like meet Olivia Rodrigo? Got a new album coming out. Like, she wants to be on the show. And then I met her, and she was like, I love watching your show. I was like, it's crazy. It shows you the power of the internet and like a good idea. It can gather momentum pretty quickly and you can break through.
Okay, so you've said that you've never like asked a celebrity to be on the show. People ask you to be on the show. So have you ever have people offered you money? Like, do you have to say no to a lot of people? Like, how do you sort of vet who gets to come on or not?
Yeah, we have to say no because there's more requests and people who want to be on the show than we have the capacity to do it, right? We put out maybe 5 episodes per week. And the requests are probably 30, 40, 50 a week.
That's so crazy.
And it costs money to make the show. I have a team of like 10 people. We have an office. We have a lot of overhead. And so even though it's like, oh, it's casual, I'm just going to be on the show. It's like there's real expenses involved with making each episode and the expense of obviously all of our time and not focusing on other things. So we have to be pretty deliberate about who we record with and when and why and how we manage our time. In terms of getting paid, we have been offered to have people pay to be on the show.
How much?
The most was maybe $10,000, $15,000.
And you said no.
We have said yes before. Yeah.
I think I could probably guess like which episode.
You think you know?
I think maybe if I looked, I could find that.
It's a secret. I'll never tell.
Obviously, you can't do it like that.
But I think that, what we've realized is music labels, we stumbled into the show where musicians are sort of promoting. They're not super directly promoting their music, but the reason that we get the opportunity to talk to these people is because they want to sort of promote something. Yeah. That's the whole purpose of them going, or they're promoting themselves. And we've learned through doing this that music labels have a lot of money to spend on promoting artists to get people to stream their songs.
Wow.
So like they are paying lots of anytime you see an artist on a show, a lot of the time the label is paying for that to happen, or there is some sort of promotion involved.
Okay. Now that we've covered the basics, let's get down to the business, because the show is a huge hit, but like, how much is it making? How long did it take for Trackstar to break 6 figures, to break 7 figures? Like, what was your first big brand deal? Like, how are you making money from this show?
I would say for the first year that the show was out there, made $0.
Which just shows you like the platforms don't pay.
Yeah, the platforms, I guess there was a little bit of money that TikTok was paying us, maybe like $3,000 a month, which $3,000 is a lot of money.
Helps,
if you're just by yourself making videos at home, that's great.
Yeah.
But like we're full service production company, and we're paying salaries like for lots of people.
Yeah.
For everything that we do. So the breakthrough probably came in the second year. I found that like with brand partnerships, especially like on social media, it takes a while for them to catch up to what's happening. And so it's not like the freshest thing that just came out. It's often like it's been around for a year, it's established, people are familiar with it. Let's go like in Q3 next year. So it's like your relevance online almost pays off later than when it's actually happening.
Totally.
Hopefully you can continue to grow, but like it takes a while for those brand partnerships to catch up.
So so the first year you made no money, and then the second year?
The first year and a half, first year we probably made $600,000 or $700,000, and then we've doubled every year.
That's awesome.
Since then.
2x every year, baby. That's what we like to see in a startup, but you're not really a startup anymore.
Well, we still kind of. We still have that startup mentality.
You still have mentality. You got to keep it, keep grinding. The other thing I was thinking about too is like how iconic your branding is, the orange. Like people spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on branding. Did you just come up with that?
We came up with orange because we were thinking about what's a color that represents the tone and feel of this show, and orange represents like warmth and happiness. And so it was like orange just felt like a unique color and something that felt on brand for that emotion. I think branding like becomes iconic because the brand becomes iconic. And so it's almost like an afterthought. Even something that probably the first time people saw like the Nike check, they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
It took years for people to realize how iconic Nike is. And then the check becomes more iconic.
Everything like compounds. Like you have to put that, like even with your brand partnerships, like it took so long for people to recognize that you are such a valuable platform. And now it's even going to go more to the moon because you've been doing it for longer and just keep increasing. It's
a good way of putting it, like the compounding.
And now, with compounding, it becomes exponential at a certain point. That's why we see this guy on the New York Times. What are the business finances right now? Like, are you optimizing more, would you say, for upside or for stability?
Stability. I think, I think that, as I said, like every year our revenue is doubled, but we started off as 3 people and now we're 10. So like our team has doubled every year. Reinvesting in the studio space. Like this year we're spending in this past year $500,000.
Wow.
Pouring into our office, which is a rental, but we have like a 10+ year lease there. And we know that we're going to get a return on that because we were able to film in the space. But that was a huge investment for us. And yeah, it's giving it back to sort of building the team and pouring it into the content and trying to figure out how do we make a really solid foundation in here so that we can continue to develop new shows and new ideas, because that's how we got to this place to begin with. It was like really strong foundational stability with the advertising agency model that we started with, and then building layers and layers on top of that.
So then what are the revenue streams just for Trackstar?
Just for Trackstar, there's a little bit of money that's coming in from the social platforms that are paying you like ad share dollars. And then the biggest piece is brand partnerships. So brands will say, we really like your show, we want to support it. So like an example of that is Beats by Dre. We had a year-long partnership with them for product placement. So we always wore Beats by Dre custom Trackstar headphones and did a couple interviews on the set of Beats shoots that were happening. And so that's something it helps us plan in the long term because we know there's X amount of dollars coming in throughout the year. We have a similar partnership with Rivian, the car brand. So we do stuff with them throughout the year. And it just helps us kind of, instead of waiting for one thing and the next, like come sporadically, it helps you sort of plan ahead a little bit and know you have that amount of money to rely on, to invest in. We could hire a producer for our podcast or whatever that thing might be.
Something that I think is hard when you're an entrepreneur is knowing whether to invest in your future rich person versus like your current rich person. And I know in your personal life, your wife is pregnant and, you're doing all these renovations for your office, but like I'm friends with Allie. Like she's like, girl, we can't afford to, renovate our house, but it's like you're going to pour everything into the business, but it's like your personal life, you still scale back and are not throwing dollars around. So how do you negotiate that?
First of all, the money that we're spending on the business it's not my money. It's the business's money. I own a piece of the business, but I have partners in that. And so it's not like all of it is just my own cash that's going in. And the hope is that making those investments will pay off in my career going forward. That will help us have more financial stability down the road with our kid. But spending like money on like furniture at our house in the short term isn't necessarily something that's going to have a payoff when like, when people with babies, like babies are like vomiting. Like,
yeah. Babies are so gross. Like babies get it together.
I don't know.
Yeah. Like it's like, why are we going to like shell out for that?
It's just, I don't know. I guess it's part of my personality. It's easier for me to just like justify, oh yeah, I can use the business credit card for this thing because it's part of the business and it's a write-off for that.
Yeah.
I guess that's part of it. Like when you're spending money on your business, it's a write-off in that business or it's an asset for that business. Whereas when you're swiping your own credit card. It's just a liability. You've already spent that. Yeah. You've already paid taxes. You're just spending out of your
it's the worst.
Bottom line.
I know.
I'm
obsessed.
About spending money and saving money.
Oh, I totally. And I'm the same way where I run everything through my business, but like I don't think I spend that much. Like everything is in service of the business, and then when it's not, it's like, ugh.
Yeah, it's a different thing. Yeah, it's a very different thing, right? Like just even like a flight, like it's paying for a business class flight when you're working is different than paying for a business class flight on vacation.
100%.
Like you're like really paying a lot of money for a business class flight.
Like $3,000.
I don't do that.
Yeah, feels really different. What I think is amazing though, Jack, is like you talk so much about like what you're building, right? Like it's like you're on this amazing rocket ship where I think there is so much wealth and success in your future and in your present. But so much of the way that you've done that I think is helpful for my audience is by investing in your human capital. Like if you think about it, the ability to start Public Opinion and the production studio was because you had your expertise in, production. Your brother's an amazing editor. Your other partner is amazing at cinematography. Like you all were bringing your skills in to build something valuable. And then even for Trackstar, I know that you spend so much time learning about music. You tell me you want to build a new MTV. You're reading books about MTV. You are, as much as you love music when you started this, you've now become like an aficionado. So just talk a little bit about like building your human capital and how much that has added value to your career.
I guess it's sometimes it's hard for me to separate my life from my work interests. Mm-hmm. Like everything bleeds into each other. And like, I won't slow down. So I'll be thinking about like a country music artist or something that I spoke to and they mentioned someone. And then I get home at night, I'm like, I want to watch a documentary about that. Mm-hmm. I just want to know about that. I think it's just a sense of like curiosity about the world and trying to tie that curiosity to the things that are happening in your work life. And then like, if you're going to be a storyteller, you have to be incredibly curious about the world to learn about it, to tell those stories. You're the same way with what you do. Like you're reading all sorts of stuff about finance and learning about the economy. And you even when you're not working, you're continuing to try and learn those things. And when you read the paper and you see you're like, oh, that is connected to something that I know about in work, but I should know about it more. Yeah. Besides, just investing in your sort of self and trying to like learn more. I mean, I guess like other things I've done, I've taken classes at night to try and learn about accounting and like how do I like learn stuff like, that I'm applying to my business.
Like
but
you're
it's
not
also
just
about
waking
people.
up and being like, bloop, I have an internet show. Like you've created yourself.
Yeah.
You built yourself into Jack Coyne, who is ready for this opportunity. And like that, in order to have high earning potential, you need to meet that challenge. It's not just someone's going to hand you a check. You need to be the person who's going to demand that check because you're valuable. And every time that you read, you watch a documentary, you do any of that stuff, you are like you're investing in that.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important and like something that no matter even who you are, you can be doing that no matter what your career is.
I think it's hard to when you're young, it's hard to figure out what you want to do because there's like endless possibilities and you have like more limited skill set. But the more you start to figure out in life, like this is the thing that I get the most excited about, the easier it is to say, oh, that's my thing. Let me pour more, continue to fill up the bucket with more and more.
Do you feel happy doing what you do? Like, is it overwhelming now to have all this other responsibility? Or
it's the best thing in the world. It's the best thing in the world. I've never had a day of work where I wasn't happy. But that's also to a large extent true before I started this company. I feel like I've always been guided by trying to do things that are going to bring me happiness. Mm-hmm. Like when I was not making any money straight out of college, working at this production company, I still really liked it. Mm-hmm. Like I liked every day and I liked the experience. And if I wasn't having fun, it was like, okay, I got to change it up and try something new. So I worked for Casey Neistat for a long time. We started a company called Beam. That company sold to CNN. I worked at CNN for a year. And in that time, like, it wasn't a very fulfilling job. It was like a lot of my ideas were being shut down, and I found myself kind of becoming lazy and like stagnant in that role because, they don't want to do this. All right. And I was getting paid a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like, well, I'm not going to leave. Like, I can just kind of coast and do what I want on the side. But then you don't want to do that either because you're making enough money. Oh, I'll just go out. I'll do this thing. And you stop being focused. Sometimes when you're like hungrier, it's easier to spend that extra time on the outside, like fighting harder for what you want.
When I worked for Laura Michaels and I worked with Ben Marshall, who is like now on SNL, the redhead on SNL, he every night after work would go to like practice with Please Don't Destroy, or they had a writing session or whatever. And it's like we were making like $40K a year. We weren't making any money. And like it's a relatively New York City tough salary to get by on. But it's like he was just all about that bigger vision. And now, like he invests human capital. You got to be hungry and keep going.
I think if he had a job where he was in private equity, he was making $200,000.
He would have never done it.
He'd be less inclined to go after work and meet those guys in practice.
Totally.
And his boss in the finance job would be like, you can't leave and go to a writing thing.
So wait, there's 3 of you in the biz though. You've got your business partner, you've got Kieran, your brother, and you've got you. How do you split the business profits?
Everything we make goes back into the business. Like, we don't really take I guess we're technically like have tax liabilities for the thing.
Like, how much do each of you own?
Equal.
Whoa, really? Even though you are the star?
Equal.
Damn. Are you sort of like, should have done something differently there?
No. I mean, obviously, like, sometimes you're like, well, why couldn't I have? But from the very beginning, I was like, no, it's important for me that everyone feels like they have equal ownership over this business.
Is it hard to work with your brother?
It's hard to work with anybody, but it's also easy. I think it's equally hard and easy to work with my brother and my other partner who's not my brother. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's challenges at any given time with anyone you work with, but also there's a level of closeness between all of us, but particularly with my brother and I, and a level of trust that you can't like replicate.
Yeah. Okay. I wish my sister knew like how to edit. That would be lit.
Your sister's a doctor.
My sister's a surgeon, but it's like she needs to leave that behind and
maybe
do Premiere.
You can hand the scalpel.
Yeah, I could. I'm like, I'm like trying to make her be more Dr. Phil vibes, and she's not down. I'm like, girl, we got to write a book. Like, let's go. So wait, have you ever made like a really expensive mistake running the show?
No, we've been pretty measured with how we've spent money. So there's not one particular mistake. There's things that we've spent more money on than we should have. Like, every step of the way is like a learning, right?
Totally.
It's like, this person, like, who works for us is like, it feels like we're getting so much more value out of them than what we're paying them. And maybe this person you're not getting as much value out of, and you're paying like a lot, and sort of trying to figure out that balance and understand where people are in their career. And so, not that those are mistakes, but it's just like when you run a business, you start to learn how to navigate. Like, the biggest expense for the most part every month is the team and the people. So like, how much are people worth in your business? And then knowing that, we have to get rid of someone if they're not providing the value. Cause like, it's a business at the end of the day, and like, you care about people, but also you have to focus on the health of the business and make sure it's in the right place. And that as you grow and you start to be able to hire more and more sort of high level and expensive people, it's just riskier, right? Like, if you're going to give someone a salary for $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, like, that's insane amounts of money. No, not yet, but that's a direction we're headed.
Like,
and the same is true with paying myself. Like, I would love to be able to pay myself $200,000 or $300,000 a year, but if I'm going to do that, it's like every month or every 2 weeks, you're looking at the expenses and you're like, we have to make a lot of money to be able to pay this many salaries. How
much do you pay yourself?
This past year, $100,000.
And then do you want to double that this year? Like, what's your goal?
Yeah, my goal is like to try and double that this year. At least, I think. But now, because we're having a kid very soon, like, it's going to be a whole new learning experience. Like, how do we budget for that? And also, back to your question about when we were talking about hiring people, when you have kids and both you and your partner work, you have to figure out that becomes a business, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know this yet, but I'm imagining you have to hire the right babysitter
you have to have the
and
right
the
people,
right care team in your house, because your most important investment
is your child,
is your kids. And you have to have the right person with them. And if they're not working, you have to be able to fire them.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe that makes it easier, because it's probably so much easier to fire someone who's doing a bad job taking care of your kids than it is someone who's like working on an Excel spreadsheet or whatever.
But also you'll be better at it. Like my friend Bryn is a CEO and she has 3 kids and she's fired 70 nannies. 70. She's like, oh, bye. Like she runs such a tight ship. Like there is no wiggle room. And it's like her company is worth $1 billion. Like that's why. Like you either got the sauce or you don't.
I think when you were asking about like what do I want in terms of like expenses and stuff in my life, like it would be cool to have an office manager but for your house and for your
sick.
life.
Me too. 100%. I hate those kind of tasks, and they take up your whole day.
When you go to a rich person's house and the fridge is like organized.
Oh my God. My friend is a billionaire and she has like special waters.
There's always something like that. Yeah.
Yes.
And you're like, it's just a different level of.
Yeah. You didn't have to
not thinking about it.
Yeah. The groceries.
Open the fridge. Oh, there's cut fruit in there.
Cut fruit.
Fresh.
No, cut fruit is like very valuable.
I was thinking about buying an espresso, like an expensive espresso machine for the office.
Oh, I think that's nice and good for like, I'm sure they would give it to you.
Allie, like my wife, I was like, should we get this for the house? She's like, get it for your office. Like, don't get it for the house.
That's the girl.
And I was like, yeah, it's a write-off. But then if it doesn't work in the office,
you can bring it home.
And that's my financial advice to you, everyone who's listening.
Okay, but this show, like I feel like you are up there with like Chicken Shop Date and Subway Takes as like one of the top internet shows. Mm-hmm. Do you guys all talk? Like how are they monetizing, and like how do you plan past viral fame? Like what are what's the plan? Yeah. What's the 4-year plan, and what's the relationship?
So Subway Takes, Kareem and I started basically around the same time, and we're friends, we're friendly, and we text and talk about stuff and kind of give each other advice about, hey, how do I navigate this thing, or this person like wants to work together, or whatever. And that's a great resource to have, and he's an awesome guy. Amelia is like been in the game for 10 years.
Yeah.
So she's someone who I'm sure he does, look up to and admire a great deal, and admire her career. And she's really someone who had this like idea, and she's a creative force that wanted to build this thing. And it wasn't about making money and becoming rich. It was about like, I really want to do this show and tell this story. And it kept building and building and building. And everything came from that, and she gets opportunities to host red carpet events. Yeah. And she's like a personality that people want to connect with. And she's done this hosting thing. So I think that's great. And I think all of us probably have a similar business model where there's brand partnerships, and then there's the revenue from the platforms, and then there's sort of hosting gigs that you can get outside of your own shows. Where do you see Trackstar going in like the next 4 years? Like, yeah, well, we want it to be like MTV of this generation. And I know that's kind of, if you just know it as this one show, that's hard to like think about, where does it go? It's just a show. Mm-hmm. It's going to become a network with lots of different shows. But at the heart is storytelling around music and connecting musicians and fans through. And the spring break trip I hope. We're going to do, spring break, Trackstar Spring Break, I think was super important. I think about that all the time. Yeah. Foam party. Spring break was such an interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I just met the longtime CEO of MTV Networks, Tom Freston. And I was like, I just kept asking him all these questions about how they went from music videos to then like the MTV of eventually Jersey Shore and these other things, and sort of why they made those choices along the way. And, if you go back in the archive looking at these early shows, like Adam Sandler got his start on MTV on the show called Remote Control. And so it's just like, it's always about finding talented people and bringing them into your orbit. And so where Trackstar is going to go and how we're going to get there is we're going to try and find really talented people and give them a platform and a place to tell these types of stories.
Do you think, is that your new mentor? Like, I feel like that's also something interesting too. Is like now, is that like someone that's going to help guide your career? Like who helps you make those decisions?
Definitely like finding people like that who have that experience, I think is really important. Interesting comp with MTV is like when it started, cable TV was brand new. So, and I think having sort of serialized shows for social media platforms is still like very fresh and new. And so a lot of people don't even understand what this whole landscape looks like. And so there's a tremendous amount of opportunity there. But going back, like the MTV core team, they looked up to Rolling Stone, which started, 15, 20 years earlier as a print magazine. But it's kind of, they were doing the same thing. They were connecting people around the shared love of music. And so they kind of could learn some things from them, but Rolling Stone could learn some things from MTV because they didn't know about TV. And I think each generation, like the younger people, know probably more about the emerging technologies and sort of the new landscape. And then the older people can say, well, here are some truths that have gone all throughout time. And here are some general things about business that will be helpful for you to know. And so to answer your question, yes, I want to have those types of people as mentors, but also you have to stay true to
what you're
I
building.
Understand the current landscape better than
they do.
Than they do.
100%. Also, I just wanted to flag that, yes, you are having a baby and you know that I'm a master of growing generational wealth. So I do feel like you need to start just in the videos, you're wearing the baby in a carrier and then you can pay the baby for being in Trackstar, and then we can open the baby a custodial Roth IRA.
So
like just put the baby in some shit and then we can make the baby an employee.
This is like a common thing with celebrities, right? Like
they are always putting the baby in the media because then the babies can be paid as actors or models, which is like really when you're a baby, the only thing that you can do.
I was a baby model.
Whoa.
And
do you have custodial Roth?
I got some sort of money for
that.
That
See, felt
I guess
good,
went
right?
into college. Yeah.
You
no,
pay
it's great.
it forward.
And I have these great like baby photos in like different outfits.
There you go.
So yeah, we're going to have Little John. He's going to be working.
Little John. Cool.
He's going to be working.
Little John. Also, like, I just want to open the floor up. Like, do you have any money questions for me? Like, I'm here for you.
So you asked, am I rich? And I said last year I made $100,000. That's great. That's like good money, but it's not like
for the amount that you work,
raising your kids in New York City. But I have a lot of equity tied up in a business that's valuable, right? And so when your wealth is tied up in shares of a company that's increasing in value, how do you pay for your life? And not take the money out of the shares of the business. Isn't that a thing?
Okay, so what you're talking about is buy, borrow, die. And it's like every billionaire does this. And basically you build something valuable like Trackstar, and then Trackstar is valued. Say Trackstar is valued at $100 million. Then you borrow against that $100 million and you use that money to fund your life. Then when you die, because of stepped up cost basis, the tax bill disappears. So your heirs then inherit the valuable asset in full. You've never you own 33% or whatever, 33% of Trackstar. They would still have that, but there's no taxes.
Okay, so the key is like right now I could sell half of my position in the business.
Do not
and I would
sell.
have that cash, but instead I could borrow money against the shares. Spend that money. I want to buy a new house.
Yeah, but
the business is worth $100 million.
Yeah,
I want to buy a new house, and I'm like, I have these shares that are worth $30 million. I could borrow 10, buy the house, or I guess borrow enough to pay down my mortgage and stuff on a house.
But it's risky, right? Like then, you've got
if the value of the business goes down, then you're screwed.
Yeah, you're fucked. But this is what Mark Zuckerberg does.
Borrowing money is always risky,
And this is and this is how billionaires pay zero taxes, because on paper, they're taking like a $1 salary, but they're borrowing against their assets. Like I think Jeff Bezos takes like a $1 salary. I know Mark Zuckerberg does.
Yeah. The money is not, they're not actually making any money.
No. And the craziest thing is that borrowing is not taxable income. So the money that you borrow against the business, not taxable.
Interesting.
Buy, borrow, die.
I wasn't thinking about it necessarily as a tax scheme, more just like,
it's okay if you were like, this is a safe space for tax schemes, by the way. Like, it's like, if you want to like, just say that, like, it's fine. Like, Uncle Sam is my least favorite uncle.
Yeah. I mean, I guess my thinking is just try and get by on as little as possible and keep as much as possible
in the
business and spend it on.
I think you could definitely find someone or a place to give you a low interest rate loan against Trackstar, and it would be really smart. And then pay it back. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to tell you that does stress me out about your finances, which I think happens a lot with business owners, is like, are you investing? Like, are you doing SEP IRA? Are you doing a Roth IRA? Like, you could have a Roth IRA with your income limit. I mean, with your income. Like, I know you're putting everything back in the business, but I think that like it would still be really smart for you to make sure that you're diversifying into the stock market.
What's the max that you can put into your Roth?
For this year, it's $7,500.
Yeah, I do that every year.
And SEP IRA
that's basically where I am, just with the Roth.
But are we doing SEP?
No.
So we have the same accountant. We need to have Michael Savocci, love your work. SEP IRA is great when you have your own business. Because I think that like we put so much back, but you need to also hedge your bets.
Yeah.
Even though this is going to the moon, and also you want to make sure you get disability insurance.
Yeah.
Cause like, you don't have a peg leg on TV, like, or maybe you do. Like, it's like, you got to watch, like, what if both your arms get eaten by something and then you can't hold, you got a wireless mic, like you need to.
Wow. Wireless mic. That's a good
idea. I guess now that I'm thinking it through, like you could do the show in many different physical states, but we should also plan for like, maybe what if you got laryngitis, like you got to plan for, you protect your asset. This is a big asset.
Insurance is a hard thing.
Insurance is so hard. My dad is always telling me, like, he made me get insurance for like financial advice insurance, basically.
I just feel like someone should disrupt
insurance.
Like, there should be a really simple app. I'm not even talking about health insurance. I'm talking about like every business insurance, liability
like niche insurance.
Everything. Like, it should just be simple.
Do you have any other financial questions?
Where are the best places to borrow? Best ways to borrow money?
Well, I mean, like one example is like student loans. Like if a
student loans are really low interest.
Most of them, unless they're private, they're going to be the threshold is 7%. So we look at like any debt underneath 7% APR is considered low interest, and any debt above 7% is high interest. And then if it's over 7%, it's like you're on a treadmill. Like no matter how much progress you make, like you're just never going to get off. It's impossible to like make progress because like you're just being hit every month with these crazy payments and it's overwhelming. But if it's below, because the stock market has averaged like an 8 to 10% return, so you're able to take the money that you're borrowing and put it into the stock market at 4%, 5%, put it into the market at 8 to 10%, you're making a ton of money. That's why celebrities all have mortgages. Yeah. Sabrina Carpenter just got a mortgage. She's worth $14 million. Adele has a mortgage. Beyonce and Jay-Z are billionaires. They have mortgages. Because
Sabrina Carpenter's only worth $14 million?
I know. I was also surprised at that.
That seems low.
I know, but I feel like if you look at it, her net worth is growing so much every year.
Yeah.
I think she's been working for 10 years, but it just hit.
Yeah.
And she probably has a lot of expenses.
It's a lot of expenses.
Yeah. Like when a girl is looking that good, she's doing that much. Yeah. Like it's a big team.
And it's expensive to like create her whole thing. Like,
that's what I'm
just
saying.
Because she puts on a show at Madison Square Garden, the show might generate a couple $1 million. Like there's everyone who's working at Madison Square Garden, she's paying.
Well, you know a lot about like musicians' business finances too, where you were like, now whenever I see on Spotify that a show has 1 billion streams, I like remember how much is it that they get paid for 1 billion streams?
I think 1 billion streams is $4 million.
I'm like clocking that. I'm like, okay, Sabrina, it's okay, yeah. Selena Gomez.
And I think that's not just the artist. I think that's what the platform pays. That's then like split, like often like 50-50. With the label.
Okay, Jack, that is my financial advice for you, but you know where to find me. I'm always here to give you more. And thank you, sippers. Yes, let me know if I'm allowed to call you that or if I'm going to jail. Thanks for listening to Financial Tea. We will be back next week with more financial insights and piping hot gossip. And if you have got a financial confession, a question, a mess you need cleaning up, go to speakpipe.com/financialtea, random website, but I will answer your voicemails if you leave them there. Speakpipe.com/financialtea and spill it. Oh, and also, Jack, do you have anything you want to promote?
Yeah.
I mean, you're famous. Everyone knows you.
Trackstar Podcast
is
a show that we make. It comes out every Wednesday. It's available on all podcast platforms. You can listen to it or you can watch it on YouTube or Spotify or whatever. Yeah, it's really fun. It's about music.
Thank you, Jack, so much for coming on the show. One of my favorite people and someone who I really admire, like your financial business journey. We're going to get you some cash flow, baby. Buy, borrow, die. We got to find someone to give you that loan. Talk about it after. You're the GOAT.
You're the GOAT.
Literally a star since I've known him. Now everyone else is seeing what I've always seen.